Well, hello, America. As we sit here watching our country, the country that we love, slowly turn into France without any of the good wine or good cheese, today I've been reminded of the line from the Declaration of Independence, not the, all men are created equal part, or the repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury, although that certainly does apply right now. I've been reminded of the last line in the Declaration of Independence. It's my favorite line. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Here's the point tonight. Please, there's no sacred honor among thieves. In fact, there's no honor at all. And right now, thieves is a pretty generous way to describe most of our politicians. And here's how I got there. Last week, Treasury Secretary, a guy who has managed our economy almost as effectively as Kwame Kilpatrick managed Detroit, offered up what turned out to be his most ridiculous prediction yet. He said, and I quote, "I believe that we're going to get a bill that works, and a clean bill at that." Yeah, he'll be here all week. Try the veal. As you probably heard by now, what started out as a bad deal for the country got a whole heck of a lot worse last night when the thieves in the Senate added $150 billion in so-called sweeteners to the bailout bill. I say so-called sweeteners because let's call them what they really are, bribes. Bribes that put wooden arrows and wool research. What do we need to know about wool research? Over our country's future. That's what they were doing last night. In fact, these people didn't vote for a financial rescue package as much as they voted for a whole bunch of little pet projects that just happened to come with a side of bailout money. What else can you call that but outright theft of your taxpayer dollars? And where was the king of no pork, John McCain, last night? The saddest part about all of this is there are some things in this Senate bill that, I don't know, they may not be good or bad, but I'd like to know more about them. There might even be a good idea or two in there, but the question is, it's not whether these things are good or bad, it's whether they have to do anything with buying troubled assets. Do they? No, they don't. They do have everything to do with buying votes. They are bribes. So America, here's what you need to know. When Harry Reid stood up before last night's vote and said, this rescue package was, quote, not for the titans of Wall Street, he was absolutely right. It's not for Wall Street. I mean, it's not for Main Street either. It's for K Street. It's for the lobbyists and the special interests and everybody else who thinks they can finally, look at that. It's a cookie jar large enough to hide my greedy little hand in. Well, I got news for all of you crooks in Washington. No cookie jar is big enough to hide what you've done. The American people are on to you. We're going to track every single handout to the politician it was meant for, and I swear on my sacred honor, if that politician changes their vote from a no to a yes because of that earmark, then I will expose you to America as the honorless thief you are, and my apologies for disparaging actual thieves. Iowa Congressman Steve King is with us. Steve, which earmark was meant for you, sir?
Well, that's quite an introduction, Glenn.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, I'm not. I cannot rebut what you've said. I mean, you characterize it in a fashion a little differently than I might, but
right.
Actually it illustrates it in a better fashion than I think I might.
Okay. Which earmark was meant for you?
Zero. None of those earmarks for me, and nothing there is going to be enough sweetener to tempt me to vote for this thing, which still is a $700 billion buyout, a leveraged buyout with taxpayers' money to pay off Wall Street. And now it's a net of, my numbers are $110 billion more dollars, a net out of that $150 billion increase. So that adds up now to this year, in 2008, an accumulation of $1.91 trillion in bailout money to try to stimulate this economy. Taxpayer dollars. It's the wrong thing to do, Glenn.
Congressman, is there, I mean, where do I find the sacred honor in Congress from anybody who would say, no, I don't want to do that, but then would change their vote because, well, I couldn't get my project, passed ever, but they offered this to me, and, well, we got to do it anyway, so why not? Where is the honor? Where is somebody standing up in Washington and saying, this is reprehensible? We're being told this is the most important package of our life, and you're doing that?
There is honor there, and I think of people like Scott Garrett, who's very close to Wall Street, who stood up and said, I'm drawing a bright line. We're not crossing this Rubicon into a taxpayer-funded bailout. He has a lot of pressure on him, but he's taken a principled stand, and that goes on over and over again. You'll find those people among the no votes when this comes up to the floor of the House of Representatives.
Speaking of no votes, how many no votes are there going to be? How many Republicans are going to be pressured into, bought, et cetera, et cetera? They still need to have at least what they had last time. They need a few more. Are the Republicans going to cave?
There will be some, I believe, that will change their votes, and they will rationalize it in their way. But, you know, we should remember that this bill was anticipated to pass when it came to the House floor on Monday, and it did not, because the constituents got on the phone and they went to the offices and they gave Congress an earful. And so that needs to continue. I'll say this, our internet services in my office are sometimes shut down today by all the people trying to tap in and send messages in.
Okay.
So we have that wave coming again.
Congressman, I wanted to check here while you were talking. I checked. I believe an earmark was meant for you. It was biodiesel earmark.
Oh.
I'm not saying you put it in. I'm saying they targeted you. This is something that you have wanted, and they were trying to buy your vote. You disagree with that?
No, in fact, I initiated the language of the biodiesel credit to begin with. I'm the first one to introduce that into Congress, saw it signed into law as part of the first bill that I introduced 6 years ago. But to sweeten that up with that piece matched up against this now $810 billion, that just isn't enough. And by the way, where was Barney Frank and Charlie Rangel and Chris Dodd and the other folks over there that had that on the shelf? Why couldn't we have gotten that done? If it was a good piece of policy, it shouldn't have been something that was going to be buried for the duration of the 110th Congress, or just to hold it back as a bargaining chip when they wanted something that was a big buyout.
Congressman, you stay strong, and I hope we crash the servers tomorrow in Washington and let people know in Washington exactly how America feels. I thank you for your service, sir.
Well, Glenn, we do have free market solutions, and I'm glad to be on board with you.
All right.